Hi y'all, welcome to my channel, and in today's video I am sharing with you our curriculum picks for the 2025-2026 homeschool year for my 5th grader. So stay tuned. Okay, well, if you are new, welcome to my channel, Pursuing Peace. My name is Dina, and I am a homeschooling mama of 5 kiddos, 5 to 11. And in this channel, I share my passions for Christ and for homeschooling and for encouraging mamas in their faith and in this amazing season of motherhood. I don't know if you just heard them screaming over there, but it is an amazing season of motherhood, okay? So if you'd like to join me in this journey, then click the subscribe button and don't forget to click the little bell icon so you get notified whenever new videos pop up. And you can also follow us over on Instagram at Dina_Pursuing Peace. All right, you guys. Well, I am excited. Again, I always start with that. I am excited about this video. This is my 5th grader. This is my only boy. He is my 2nd oldest, and this is my only boy. So I'm excited that I get to show you what curriculum he is going to be using for his 5th grade year. We are changing it up on him a little bit, and so I'm just praying that that's all going to be okay. But I'm excited because we are military, and so we are moving, and we are going to be joining a CC community in the spring. So we will still be here in the fall, and then around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, you know, that time when we have all kinds of time available. We're gonna be moving. So thankfully it is not very far away, and so hopefully it'll be a good move. I am praying to God that it is a smooth move and transition, but also that it brings us closer to him, because that's my prayer all the time. And this is kind of a side note, but I pray, you know, for health and for smoothness and for all the things in life that make us, I don't know, happy, I guess. But at the same time, I'm praying that we grow in our faith. And sometimes when we grow in our faith, it's through those hard times. You know, sometimes we can grow when, you know, everything's going right. But when we really grow deeply, it's through the hard times. So I pray and I ask the Lord, please let this be a smooth transition. But at the same time, may it bring us closer to you somehow. And may it not be too hard, please. But somehow may this move bring us closer to you, whatever that looks like. So anyway, that was kind of a side note that I was thinking about. But yes, this is our 5th grader, and I am excited for the move in that we will be joining a CC community. I am not excited to be leaving friends and our neighborhood that is amazing and neighbors, but I am excited. Praise the Lord, he's given me something to look forward to in the next town that we live in. So okay guys, well, without any further ado, I'm gonna turn the camera around and I'm gonna show you what we've got. Okay, so the first thing we have is Bible. A lot of these things that I'm gonna show you are very similar to my 4th graders curriculum, but there's a little bit of difference in a lot of them. So bear with me. So we have books of the Bible, and what I want them to do is I just want them to read 1 chapter a day. That they can do more if they want, but at least 1 chapter a day. And so I printed off these checklists so that here's this like reading tracker for the Old Testament. And you can see, so my boy has actually been reading for a while, so he just hasn't colored these in, but you can see since the beginning of the school year, he's been coloring in 2 Kings. And then here is more of the Old Testament, and then here is the New Testament. I'll leave this link down below. I just found this on Etsy. So there's this tracker here, and then I have a tracker so when he finishes a book of the Bible, then he can color this in. If you saw my 4th grader, I had like a quilt tracker for her, but since I have a boy, then I just printed this out for him. And then I like this one. It shows like it's the books of the law, then history, poetry, and I like that it's divided like that so he can kind of color them in however he wants to. And so like I said, he's already over right here. He's right here. So he just needs to fill this in. I think he just didn't quite understand what I was giving him. But now he does. So when he puts it back up, then he'll color it in. So those are the trackers that they use every day. This here, I printed out again from Etsy. So I printed it out and then I bound it. I have a Pro Click binder, and it looks a little bit childish for my, 5th grade boy, but I like the visual of it. I like the way that it's laid out, because a lot of things his age range it's too much going on. And he's like me, where it's like, I need to be able to figure out what's what in everything. And it also comes with the Old Testament in chronological order. And for him, he was the first one that I printed out, and I only did it one-sided. So I just printed out the Old Testament because it was a lot. And so when he gets to the end of the Old Testament, I'll print out the New Testament for him. But I like this. This is chronological order, and it separates them by genres also. And then it tells you Jesus in the Old Testament, and so it's just really clear and concise is what my boy needs. He's like me. So Genesis, the promise of a savior who will defeat evil. Exodus, the Passover lamb, represents Jesus as our sacrifice. So it just tells you how Jesus is in all of those books in the Old Testament. And then it gives you an overview. Usually, I'll show you. So like Joshua, it'll give you the whole book of Joshua in just kind of a concise image with pictures. Like, we really like the Bible Project videos. If you've seen those that have, they draw as they're telling you what the book is about. But I tried printing those out, and it's just a lot to look at on one page. And so I wanted something like this that was just easy, concise, visually appealing. And I think it'll be really good for them. And for me, it's neat to just kind of look through and see some of these. So this one, Genesis, is broken up kind of into 2 sections. It's 1 through 11, with the history of creation and all of that. And then we zoom into Abraham and his family from chapters 12 through 50. And then here's Exodus again, 1 through 13. And then the covenant at Mount Sinai is the rest of the book. And so I really like this. And I told him, you can read this whenever you want. You just have this at your desk, and you can pull it out before you start reading the book. And then again, after you start reading the book, if you have a question, you can go in here and just kind of read it during the book, during while you're reading it. If you want to read it every day before you start reading your chapter, you totally can, So I have this for my boy, so that way he can dive a little deeper into scripture. The next thing that I have is handwriting, and he is going to go into level 4, but he's still in level 3. So he is on page, 75, and there are 100 pages in each of these handwriting books from the Good and the Beautiful. So he is still learning how to form his cursive letters, and he's doing really well. Like, I think this is actually really good. And here, again, this is just how they teach it. You start with the colors of the rainbow, so red, and you find orange, yellow, green, you go down to blue, indigo, and then violet. I think that's supposed to be violet. It looks gray, but it's okay. It's the order right here. You see? Oh, and then that means lift your pencil. I kind of never read that. So he does like this. He doesn't really like, I'll show you over here. He didn't color that. Sometimes he'll do it every once in a while where it says copy the images, but see, he doesn't really like to do some of these. He just wants to get the handwriting done and move on with his life. And I don't blame him. So I told him, unless it's something fun like a maze that he wants to do, I told him he didn't have to do all of it. So he's doing that. And so when he finishes, which will be in the next month or so, whenever he finishes that, then we're going to move on to level 4. And I did kind of flip through this a little bit in my last video, but I'll do it again in case you don't want to go back. But again, they're still kind of learning to form the letters, but it's a lot more practice, which I am very, very happy about. It's a lot more practice, and the letters, you can tell they're smaller. The space that they give them is a little bit smaller. There's more. It really is beautiful. My girls like this handwriting a lot, and mostly because of all of the different activities and stuff that they get to do. But my boy, not so much. And like I said, that's fine. Totally fine. If he wants to do one, great. Go ahead and do it. If he doesn't, not a big deal. As long as he gets his handwriting practice done, then that's good. I like that there's copy work in these. There's a lot more copy work in level 4 than there is in pretty much any of the other levels, or any of the levels previous to this one. I haven't done level 5 or 6 yet. Actually, my girl is in level 5 or 6, my oldest one. So, but I'll have to look through her handwriting again. But we tried to do new cursive handwriting from Memoria Press over the summer, and he specifically couldn't do it because he couldn't form the letters quite yet. He was still learning how to form the cursive letters, so I just put him back into the good and the beautiful. And as I was looking through level 4, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. So I'm just going to do that. So there's 100 pages in there. I usually just have them do 1 page a day. They can do more if they want, but at minimum 1 page a day for handwriting. So that's what we're using for my 5th grader. Okay, the next thing is spelling. And for spelling, we are using Phonetic Zoo. Now, this is the teacher's guide / teacher's notes, and it kind of shows you in here how to do all of the different lessons and stuff. Let me see if I can open this a little bit and show you. I didn't open it too much in my last videos. So these are the words that they will be doing if they're in year 1. If they've already done all of this, then they'll go to year 2. If they've already done both of these, they'll go to year 3. What I really love about these lists is that they all go along with the spelling rule. So AI and AY, they both say A, so how do you use them? And then there's this little jingle that they give you so you can remember, when do you use AI versus when do you use AY? And then you see these are the words that they would spell for that. For the next year, the words are just a little bit longer, but they're using the same rule. And then the following year, just a little bit longer. As far as vocabulary goes, also, it's just they're more difficult vocabulary words, and but it's still using the same rule, which is wonderful, and I love that. And I love the repetition and all of that. So the idea here is, this is his book. They will need a notebook of some sort. We do give them these cards, so he collects all of these different cards. They also have these cards here that they have collected. This is just like a baseball card thing that I got on Amazon, and they're collecting it. So the idea is that they collect all these animals to create a zoo, you know what I mean? And so my boy is just collecting them in here, but I know like my oldest girl likes to cut them out and actually hang them up, and so it's whatever they want to do with it. So the idea is you can either read these words to them, or we have a download where they are reading the words for them, and then they also kind of say the little jingle in between a few of these words, just to remind them, okay, this is the spelling rule that we're working on and all of that. So they'll go through, they'll listen to that, and then they will spell them. And then they'll turn the page and they'll fold it here. And then the audio continues, and they give them actually how to spell the words. So then they'll go through and spell them correctly, and then they'll open it up and check their work, and they have to get 15 out of 15 or 100% for 2 days in a row until they can move on to the next lesson. So like for instance, my boy like a couple of days ago got 15 out of 15, but then the next day he got 14 out of 15, and he was like, oh, it's this cheeky. It was this cheeky. And I was like, oh, I was being cheeky, wasn't it? And so then the next day he had to do this again instead of moving on. You have to get it 2 days in a row. It can't be 2 times like in the same day. It has to be 2 days in a row. So consecutive days, I guess you can say. So yeah, so we've been doing this for spelling, and it seems to be working. He enjoys it. It's something that they can do on their own, which is amazing. I like this better than what the Good and the Beautiful had in their language arts for spelling. So we'll continue to use this year and see how it works. Okay, the next thing is language arts, and this is where we're shaking it up a little bit. We are able to join a CC community come January when we move, and I'm super excited about that. And so my big kids are in essentials. So they're going to be doing essentials, which if you know anything about CC and you know essentials, you know it's a lot. So this is going to be our main language arts when we are in CC community, and I'll explain that a little bit more a little bit later on. But these are two kind of the same things but different things. So let me explain this one first. This is what you would get. It's a whole packet. This is just the student portion of it. But if you get, it's called EEL, and this is the student portion of it, but it comes with a teacher's guide and an answer key and like all kinds of stuff. It's a packet like this thick, like I'm not even joking, like really huge. But what I'm going to show you here, this is the student packet and how this works. Like they memorize different things. So this is a sheet that they would memorize charts. And the idea is that you put this into a sheet protector so they can use it, or you can make copies. If you have multiple kids, you only need this one, and you can make copies and have them in different sheet protectors for your kids because you want them to memorize all of these things. Like this is supposed to be 4 structures: is simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. This is declarative, exclamatory, interrogative, imperative, something like that. Yeah, I think those are the order, and then different patterns. So they memorize it, but the way they memorize it is they're writing it out. They're writing it out, or we're talking through it almost every day. So these are different charts that they're going to memorize to kind of understand what's a verb and what's a noun and what's a principal parts of a verb, and sentence structures and compound sentences and pronouns, and just kind of understanding what they are. And we are also kind of parsing sentences in the middle of all of this. Now, it doesn't have the sentences in here, but I will show you how we do those a little bit later on. Then it does have editing. This is Esther, like the whole book of Esther. We started using these, but Esther, this is the Bible. While I love scripture so much, and anytime we can use scripture, I like to use it like copy work and stuff like that. But editing scripture is hard because it almost uses different rules. You know what I mean? And so we started using this, and what I did is I started writing it on our whiteboard over here just a little bit, like 1 sentence a day or 1 verse a day. Sometimes the verse didn't end with a period, and so that started confusing them. Sometimes it was almost like a run-on sentence, you know? And so I was like, you know what? We're not going to use this. So now what we're using is our history sentences for all the cycles, actually. So like we're coming up on week 4. We're going to edit the history sentence for cycle 1, edit the history sentence for cycle 2 the next day, edit the history sentence for cycle 3 the next day, the following day. And so that way we're getting our editing, and they're getting used to how to edit themselves, but then also we're getting review for all of the cycles for history. So that's really cool. I got that idea from someone on CC Connected, so I am excited about doing that. Okay, so this here in the back, this is where we start to parse the sentence. And again, this is just one student packet that you're supposed to be able to copy, or again, put in sheet protectors or something. So you're not consuming this page, because once this page is done, this is all you have. So, so you are supposed to make copies of it or whatnot. And so the way that this works, like I will give them a sentence, and it tells us in the teacher's guide what sentences are for all the different weeks. So like our first sentence was Jesus saves, or Jesus forgives. I think it was Jesus forgives. And so I just say it, and they're supposed to write it out on this line. And then we go through this checklist and make sure that we have everything that we need. So usually I'll start here, like, do we have a beginning capital letter? Yes, and they can check it. Do we have an end mark? Yes, they can check it. Does it make complete sense? Yes, we can check it. Does it have a subject? Yes, and so they'll mark the top of it. They'll put SN for subject noun. And then does it have a predicate? Yes, the rest of the sentence is a predicate. And then I think in here, does it have a verb? Maybe the verb is down here. Oh, it's down here.
But then correct punctuation and other capitalization. So yes, we got the first one, but are there anything in here that either needs to be capitalized or is capitalized that doesn't need to be? And we got to correct that, and we got to correct the spelling for each of them. So it's really cool. I do really like this part of it. And then down here, what kind is it? So remember chart A, that very first chart that I was talking about. Is it a simple, compound, complex, or compound, complex sentence? And right now we're just doing simple. Okay, simple. And what is it? Is it declarative? Is it exclamatory, interrogative, or imperative? Well, it depends on what is your end mark, right? And so then they go through and they will check that off. And then what kind of pattern is it? So Jesus saves is just a subject and an intransitive verb. So they'll mark that. And like, okay, all right, we figured it out. And then they go into diagramming sentences, and we have not completely started doing that. I have not done this part either, so I don't know what those are. And they do diagramming sentences a little bit later. Maybe we do diagramming sentences right here. I can't remember, but we haven't gotten there yet. So I don't know. And then there's this Student Essential Student Packet. I don't know what this is, guys. I don't know what this is. We haven't gotten there yet. I am going with the flow. I am figuring it out. And we are able to join our CC community soon. So I'm just figuring it out as we go. But something that our community does, or our future community, is they make these essential notebooks. So I created this. Actually, my girl created this on Canva. It's really cool. She used AI, and she created it on Canva. But then they printed these out for me, and it's an essentials packet. Oh, actually, this is something else. This is our chart kind of tracker. This I printed out, oh gosh, I think it was CC Connected. So you'd have to look for it on CC Connected. But this is really cool. So every time we go through a chart, they get to color in one of these Tetris blocks based on which chart. Did we go through chart A, chart B, C, D, and so on. And they get to color it in. And so the idea is by the end of the semester, this whole grid will be full, and then we can move on to the next grid for second semester. So I really like that. They seem to like that too. And I've already noticed, because they can see, I need a block shape. So I need to go and I need to look at chart B and let me do chart B so that way I could get this block shape, because then I'm not going to be able to fit any other ones in there. So it's really cool. It's kind of a good motivator. So the way that this works, and I laminated it and had it bound at Staples and all of that. It's just the way that it's organized is specific to our community, which I really do love it so far. I love it so far because then I don't need these sheets. We have them because we bought them. And so therefore we have bought the property, like the content of it. But this is how we have decided to organize it. Here is their chart A, and their chart A filled in is right here, which I love that. So they can go through and copy it. Sometimes they don't need to, and we'll just fold this over and they can just memorize it. This is their chart B. And then all of their charts are over here in front. And then, let's see, here's some more charts, a lot of charts. This is a glossary. Here's some more charts. This is a glossary. We haven't quite gotten into the glossary yet, but here are their analytical tasks. See, this one has more lines on it. That's why it looked different. But here is that sheet that I was telling you where we go through and I dictate the sentence and they write it, and then we figure it all out. And then here is where we're going to get to diagram it when we start to get into diagramming. Actually, we did. Week 4 is where we do start getting into more diagramming, super simple stuff. And so, yeah, so I love this. This is kind of a weekly thing. It tells you what we're doing every week, which is nice for me. Oh, these are the sentences, the weekly sentences, guys. I didn't even realize that. Okay. And then at the back here is a number knockout sheet. This is actually on the onward easing on CC Connected. It's kind of like the sandbox for foundations, but then they have another easing for essentials. So I printed this out, And then I found this somewhere also and printed this out. It's to help with the number knockout. See, it tells you all of the different power squares and cubes, so it helps you remember how you can do all of that. So yes, and then this is really cool, guys. If you are looking for a super fine tip dry erase marker, these are it. I will leave them linked down below. They're super cool. One of the people from our community found these on Amazon, and so I'll link them down below, because I've tried to find really fine tip and I haven't been able to, and then she sent me that link. I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want, because when they're filling in these charts, you know, they almost need like a pen, you know, and so that's what that is. So yes, so this is good. Each of my children has one. At least each of the 3 big ones that are going through essentials, they all have one of these, and we're having fun. We're figuring it out, and we're having fun as we're doing it. And so yeah, so this is our main like grammar part of our language arts. And then for writing, we are using IEW. I have gone through this before, so I'm not going to do like a whole big flip through of it. So go check it out within my 4th graders video, because I spent a lot of time on that essentials thing, more than I wanted to. So you got that, but then this is basically, it works the same like any IEW. For instance, this is the Archbishop of Canterbury. This is the lesson that we are going to be going on to next week. And then you just basically, for the most part, follow the day-to-day structure. And this one will give you, so this is kind of a little review that you can do if you feel like you need to. This is your source text, and then we make a keyword outline based on that source text. Now we are already further in. So the first kind of ones that you do, see how this one's smaller? And you take 3 keywords out of each sentence, you put it here. And then you go and you write your paper based on your keyword outline. So that's what's important, is teaching them how to make keyword outlines. This is starting to teach them how to make keyword outlines, grabbing the ideas in a paragraph versus, you know, specific words. So they don't have to be words that are matching in here. It could be other words, but something that's going to remind you, this is what this source text is about. And then you can go and write it in over here. So I'll show you. And we take them out because we staple them together with checklists and different things like that. So this is the last one that he did. This is the rough draft. And we only got to the rough draft because the idea is to do a paper every week, or at least a new source text every week when we go through essentials. And sometimes we just don't have enough time to do it all the way through, which is completely fine. This is their first year in essentials. It's fine for them to do that. And I'm the teacher, so I get to decide. So the important thing was to do the keyword outline, which we did, and then for him to write the rough draft to kind of test the keyword outline. So we did that. These are my editing notes for him. The next step would have been for him to like rewrite this as his final draft. But we just didn't have time to do that, and that's completely fine. It's okay, because he will get a chance to do that later with other papers and other things like that. So yeah, so this is IEW. We have loved it. It's the structure and style. So if you're not doing CC and you're not sure how to teach IEW, get the structure and style with the video lessons, because basically Andrew Pudawa will teach your student how to do it, and you just follow along with them, and then you can learn how to do it. I really was blessed that we weren't a part of a community last year, and I was able to kind of go through those videos with my kids and have a better idea. I also have done the teaching writing structure and style that IEW has. It's like a whole other course that you take as a parent to help you teach this curriculum. And so that's been a blessing too, being able to do that. And if you're a part of a CC community, then normally you'll be able to watch it either together or on Zoom or whatever. So you can watch those videos on how to teach these also within your CC community. So yep, so this is what we're using for writing. And for language arts, we are going to still use the Good and the Beautiful level 4. Now this is going to be just for either weeks we are off of CC, you know, we have break weeks, or over Christmas, or in the summertime as a kind of just keeping up with the grammar rules and all of that. Because guys, I love this thing. I love this thing so much. And it's easy for him. He likes it. He enjoys it. He enjoys the books. So I'm like, you know what? We will just keep going with this. We just don't have time to use it on a daily basis anymore. So we're going to do essentials for grammar. But like, for instance, this week we are off of CC. Our community is taking the week off. And so I told them we can take off essentials, so that way we stay with them. And then also we can take off for our memory work. So all I'm having them do right now really is math. We do symposium and read books and history and stuff like that. But math, and then I'm having them do this language arts instead of us doing essentials for this week. And he's already done it for a couple of days. And as I'm looking through it, I'm like, oh, I'm remembering. I'm remembering the goodness of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And because we don't do the writing or spelling portion, the lessons, because we are using a different curriculum for those, the lessons are actually only about 15 minutes long, and even, or maybe less, depending on how much help he needs from me, or if he needs to read anything extra or anything like that. And so we are really, I am enjoying it. And see, in this one, they've already got, oh, I love that they have art in here, but he's already done a lot of sentence diagramming. So I do love that, and I want him to kind of continue with that. And it has also a spelling and writing level 4 workshop. I did go kind of through this when I first got it. So I'll leave the video link down below, because I don't want to flip through it, because we're not really using it a whole lot this year, but I do have other videos where I did flip through this. So I'll leave those linked down below so you can check them out and see if this is good for you, if you're not a part of CC, but you want to do language arts with your child, with your student. So I'll leave these linked down below so you can check them out. And last but certainly not least is math. We have Math with Confidence is what I am using with my 5th grader. He is actually still in level 3, but he is in he only has a few more weeks of level 3, and then we're going to dive into Math with Confidence level 4. This is my child that he started struggling with math pretty early on, so we were kind of flip-flopping, trying to figure out, okay, what math is going to work for him. Finally settled on this, and then just kept going, and he's been doing so well. That is the teacher's guide. I'll flip through that a little bit. This is the student workbook, part A, and then this is part B. So let's go through the guide first to kind of show you what it is. I'm excited to start a new Math with Confidence. I feel like I've been in level 3 for like 3 years, but I'm also doing it with my 4th grader, and so that's why I feel like I'm just doing level 3 over and over and over again. There are a lot of items that you do need to get when you're doing Math with Confidence. So there's a material list down here. It's over in the back, and so those are charts. Here's the material list, I believe. Yep, there's a material list. And so we have a math box that has all of our math supplements in there, because a lot of them are manipulatives, because a lot of them overlap with the different maths. And so I just have a math box, and that comes out. And so that when I'm doing math with everybody, that box just stays there with me. And so let's go ahead and kind of look through. I have really actually been enjoying level 3. I didn't like level 2 a whole lot. It was very hard for me to understand, but level 3 has been so much fun, and the games have been so fun to do with my kids. So each unit will have an overview. So this is like review. If he's doing this, I might actually skip review. I don't normally skip lessons because I don't know. I guess I'm type A when it comes to to curriculum. I'm like, nope, we must check everything off. But we might actually skip review because he's got multiplication down pretty well, and Yeah, so that is very much, and we're not really going to have a break between. The review is good if you have like a whole summer in between, but we're not going to have a whole summer in between. So, fact families, yeah, see, he knows all of that stuff. So basically, how a lesson works is it usually starts off, it'll tell you the materials up here, tell you kind of what you're going to be teaching. I do read these are notes to parents telling you like, hey, this might be a concept that's hard for your kid. You might need to do it in 2 different lessons on 2 different days. You know, you might need to split the lesson up, or it'll just tell you, you know, they don't need to master this right now because we're going to work on it later. But they'll always start with a warm-up practice. So this specifically is memory work. Sometimes it's a game, sometimes it's warm-up concept for whatever else is happening. And then you teach section A and section B, and then you just teach the lesson. And then this is kind of an activity at the end. Sometimes they'll have games, sometimes they will not, but they do have a lot of games in here. And usually every day we will play a game. Maybe like out of 10 lessons, 7 of them will have games, or 8 of them will have games. So every once in a while we don't, but for the most part we do. And I really do enjoy the games. And now that it's more repetitive, I kind of understand how the game works a little bit better, and I'm not freaking out at trying to read these things. Read the instructions. I don't like game instruction, guys. It takes me a long time. But let me show you, for instance, I'll just open it up to whatever lesson. So the way that their student workbooks are broken out is we've got the lesson activity, and you can see up here where it says A. So right when it said A, this is not the same lesson, but it's all the same idea. So activity A, you're going to teach activity A using this stuff, okay? And then activity B will be playing that game. That's a game board right there. And then this will be a practice sheet of the stuff that you learned over here in the lesson. This is the lesson practice. And then the review is review from previous things that you've learned. So you can actually do the review before you do the lesson. So sometimes if I'm not ready for him quite yet, I will have him go do his math review first and then come over. So then that way when he's done with his practice sheet, then he's done with math completely. And usually for us, that's the end of the day. So this is really good. And then at the end of each unit is where your answer key is. Specifically with my boy, I've had him go and check. I do this with him so he doesn't ever have to check the lesson activities, but for his practice sheet and then for his review, I have him go through and score himself, or not score himself, but check himself, right? That way, if he does get an answer wrong, then he can either see it. Usually he'll be like, oh, I see what I did wrong, and he'll fix it. Or if he doesn't understand what he did wrong, he asks me about it. But I trust him, and he's very good at being honest. Isn't that nice? He's a good, honest boy. So he goes in and checks the work, and then all of the lessons are like pretty much the same. And then at the end of each unit, you have this optional enrichment lesson, and we love these. I love these because it means it's an easy day. At least it's an easy day for me, because what will happen at the end of the unit for him will be a wrap-up lesson where it's just review of everything in that previous unit. So here it's usually like 2 to 3 pages. So here's unit wrap-up, and then he's done. And then here, the way that these enrichment lessons are broken out is we do the memory work. Usually the memory work, what is it called when it like builds? I think that's what it's called. It builds. So like, here's the memory work for all of the units. Let's see. I think the units are right there. You see them? And then it just says go through all of the memory work up to unit, like say you're on unit 10. It says go through all of the memory work for up to unit 9. So you would go and read all of that we've done for the entire year so far. And then we will find the book. So this is a picture book, a math picture book. We'll find it on YouTube and we'll watch it together. Sometimes I'll have the book, and so if that's the case, then we'll read it together. But it's just so many books that I can't. And usually I have not come across one where I haven't been able to find it on YouTube. So yes, guys, and I can't tell you how many lessons are in here because I don't understand how it's broken out. So it says here it's broken out by unit, but each unit has a different amount of lessons. So I don't actually know how many lessons there are. It might say it in here somewhere. If you guys know where to find that, then let me know. But yeah, I don't know other than going through each unit, like going through the book and figuring out, okay, unit 1 has 8 lessons, unit 2 has 10 lessons, unit 3 has 6 lessons, unit 4, you know what I mean? So yeah. But I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to diving into a new Math with Confidence book. And I should mention, these are not spiral bound. That's not how they come. They come bound like the teacher's manual, but I took them to Staples and I got them spiral bounded because it was just easy. I might do that with my first graders one too, because sometimes there's a lesson where it says, put the blocks here and tell me how many blocks fit over here. But she can't because it's like that. Like that happened to us today. It was like that. And I'm like, how is she supposed to put blocks on this page? Come on. Oh, she figured it out because she was resourceful. She had to like push it down and hold it down to figure it out. But I really love spiral bound. It takes up less room on the table, so yeah, for $5 a book, it's well worth it. So yes, so this is our Math with Confidence. This is what we're using for my 5th grader.
Okay, well, that was it. That's what I've got for my 5th grader. I'm excited to really start essentials with him. We kind of dabbled in it before, but this is the year that we're really, okay, he's going to be a part of an essentials group. So I am excited about that. Pray for us. Pray for us because essentials can be hard sometimes, but it's okay. I tell my kids all the time, we can do hard things. That's okay. We can do hard things. And you know what? And when we do hard things, those hard things become easier throughout time, right? Okay, I know this is the end of the video, but I'm going to share just a little bit with you of what I just realized of God's goodness this last summer. So my 3 big kids, they go, and this is the 2nd year that they've spent the summer, not the summer, maybe like a couple weeks, 3 weeks with their grandparents in San Antonio, Texas. That's where we're from. And so they get to go away, right? They get to go away and have so much fun for those few weeks in the summertime. But I had my 2 little ones. So I had my 5-year-old and my 7-year-old. And guys, it was like I was on vacation. Like, it was pretty amazing. Not that I don't like my 3 big ones. Please don't read it that way because I miss them so very much and I need them so very much. But I realized it was because I went through the hard things. This is where it's connecting. I went through the hard things of having 5 kids, right? Having any amount of children is hard, whether you have 1 kid or 10 kids or more, it's hard. And God gives you grace for the season that you're in. I love that. Sarah Mackenzie says that all the time, and I love that. He gives you grace for the season that you're in. He's not going to give you grace for 5 kids if you've got 1 kid. He's not going to give you grace for 1 kid if you've got 5 kids, right? But because he has grown me to this, and it has been difficult sometimes, but he has grown me in it, and it has been so good. And I love every single one of my kids more than they will ever know, right? As mamas, you understand this. I love you more than you will ever know. But because of that, just having the 2 kids was a piece of cake. I was like, oh my goodness. But if you only have 2 kids right now, it's okay that it's hard. You know what I mean? And God knows exactly how many kids you need. Even if it's not the amount of kids that you wanted, whether that's more or that's less. He knows exactly what you need to bring you closer to Him, because that's our goal, right? We want to be closer to Christ. We want to love God above everything else. And so He knows what we need in order to do that. And a lot of times it's not what we want. Growing up, I never thought I would have 5 kids. I was like 2 tops, 2 tops, y'all. But when He gave me the first one, I was like, oh, I want another one. He gave me the second one, I want another one. And He just put that in me to want more, and He let my body be able to do it. And it was just so amazing. And again, something I would not have picked. I would not have picked to be in the military, because it's so hard. I know moving around is so hard, but because of that, God has grown me so much. And the hard times and having to do the hard things is what grows us closer to Him. And I just love that so much, that even in the hard times, that we have a God who doesn't waste those hard times. He gives us exactly what we need when we need it, even if we don't want it. So I hope that's encouraging to you if you're going through a hard time right now. Know that this is not in vain. Know that this is for your good. It's always for your good and for God's glory. All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you go now. Well, I hope you liked this video, and give it a thumbs up if you did. And let's be friends. Follow me over on Instagram at Dina_pursuing peace. All right, well, I hope you're having a blessed day, and I will see you next time in another video.